What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. Today I'm going to dive into what was covered in the dev livestream from Funcom. We're going to look at the new DLC that is coming, the date when it's supposed to come out. I'm also going to cover some of the things that they talked about in the livestream, and additionally they mentioned something about a future update, and I'm going to get into some of the things that I think it could be in this video. So sit back, relax, and check it out.
All right, take it away.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, the new DLC, Mysterious 2.6 update, is called People of the Dragon, and it's based on the Nemedian culture from the Hyborian Age. Nemedia, on the other hand, is influenced a lot more by medieval Germany and the Holy Roman Empire. And what we ended up going with was the middle one, which is more medieval. So, you know, it's obviously post-Roman in terms of real history. But, you know, it has a lot of very specific design cues from that medieval era in Germany. If you look at the option 2, it's got that kind of a herringbone sort of pattern with the wood, which is where we ended up going. But this slide illustrates some of the unique pieces that we added to the set that, you know, you don't necessarily find in a lot of the other sets. The pointed roof caps, for instance, and these little kick-out windows, like sort of a Juliet balcony. Yeah, the roof windows.
Roof windows
are one of my favorite pieces. I love these little things. You're starting to get a sense of, you know, how this set lends itself to, you know, like castle building. I think that anybody who wants to really build like a medieval castle is really going to enjoy this set.
I think that's what makes this one so cool too. It stands out so much from the other ones. Mm-hmm. Like it's such a common fantasy to want to be able to build your own castle. And this is like, when you think castle in your head, this is what you see. Yeah, this is one that we used to tease with the tweets that got put out. Mm-hmm. This one is so cool.
Yeah.
And so the dragon motif prominently featured on this one, obviously. And we've got even the smoking dragon up top.
So one of the things that they decided to do with this stream in particular is actually show a lot of the assets as they were being decided on, really. So they showed a lot of the different conceptual art for the different assets that actually made it into the game. So there's a lot of different styles throughout the beginning of the live stream showing off this is what we were looking at. These are the different things that we were looking at. And then they talk about how they decided on the different items that actually made it into the game. And if you go back and watch the stream, which I'll link in the description of this video, you'll actually see a lot of the items are very beautiful. They have a really difficult job picking items that go in the game based on what I'm seeing. Those items that they're getting, those conceptual arts, are all really great, and they're picking what they feel like is the best fit for the community and the best fit for the DLC overall. And I cut an absolute ton of the different things that they showed out of this video. I just gave you a very brief highlight, so if you want to see more of that, definitely check out the live stream.
Yeah. So this is a full build that we made on just like one of our on a private server, and so this is yeah, you can see here, like we basically built a full castle because the whole thing is supposed to look like a big ass castle.
Yep.
And so yeah, and then you'll see slow pans over all the various things that we just covered. You can kind of see the banner, for example, on the left side there. Some of the brand new rooftop caps, some of the sloped windows, which we'll take a closer look at. So yeah, these are the new rooftop caps. Yeah, again, this is a unique kind of addition. Just like one of those quirks that are exclusive to the Nemedian DLC, as well as those kick-out balconies with the herringbone kind of styling that Chris was talking about earlier. And these are the sloped windows.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And again, you can kind of see inside there, like you can see some like fire flickering through that space.
So if you're familiar with the DLCs that Funcom has launched in the past, other than Sipta, this is going to fall right in line with those DLCs. You have a full building set, you're going to have a full set of placeables, and then we have a full set of armors and weapons. We're going to look at the armors next.
This is an in-game look at the light armor. Mm-hmm. Again, you can see it translated pretty accurately, I think incredibly accurately, from the concept art. a padded material down to like. Here's a look at the medium armor. Again, you can see all those discs on the chests
like old
are
coins.
they are metallic, and so they do have that like material sheen.
Very nice sheen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's the boy. Unfortunately, you can't get a really close look at the dragon. I don't want to say really like the look on that chest piece there. It's just too shiny, yeah. But again, like I think an extremely accurate translation from the concept art.
Now, what's interesting about this dev stream is that they actually didn't give any stat information about these armors. That's something that Funcom usually does in these streams, and I'm not expecting another stream or another release to give us that information, because they do have a planned release of the 21st for this DLC. Yes, that's right. It is planned to release next week.
Going to aim to release it on the 21st.
Yeah, the plan is the 21st.
Yeah.
Barring any last-minute technical issues, which sometimes happen if you've been following us for a while. You know it can happen sometimes, but that's the plan.
On all platforms.
That's usually the thing that throws a wrench in it for us. Is lately we've been trying to make sure everyone gets everything at the same time. So if there's ever a delay, it's likely because we're trying to make sure your friends on PlayStation can also have it.
Now, I want to touch on a couple of different things here. The planned release is less than a week away, which means it's not likely that we're going to see another dev live stream that goes over any information that they may have missed in this dev stream, like giving us the information as to what kind of armors these are. Maybe they'll post something on the forums. I think if they missed that and they weren't planning on doing that, going ahead and posting something on the forums in hindsight would be okay with me. Dennis goes on to talk about the fact that they're working very diligently to bring it to all platforms at the same time. So he's seen the disparity in the past where a PC is on a different generation of the game and the consoles are on another generation of the game. Essentially, PC has always been ahead of consoles because it's just easier to patch to PC. Now, I'm excited for this to happen. I really want to see them bring this to fruition and keep the game updated on both consoles and PC at the same rate. And that's not just because I'm a PlayStation fanboy. Honestly, being a content creator making videos for a game that has a disparity in the version of the game that people are playing makes it very difficult for me to create guides that everyone can consume.
Basically, 2.6 is going to be a really light patch on the design side. We're currently planning a couple other patches too that will come, but basically all of the patches between now and our next major release are going to be a lot smaller in terms of balance changes. Like we won't be doing any full weapon revamps or anything on the bigger side that you've seen recently, because we're putting a lot of work into what we're calling the 3.0 update, which is going to be massive. It will probably be one of, if not the biggest update we've done for Exiles. So for 2.6, the one thing that we're going to be doing that's the biggest deal, other than fixing bugs, is just the ability to pick up building pieces that are at full health. So if you're going around building a bunch of stuff and you put a wall down and the outer face is the wrong direction, instead of having to rebuild it and lose the time and resources, you can just pick it up and put it right back in your inventory. And one thing is, we went a step further with this too, to where if you pick up a building piece and that causes other pieces to be destroyed, those pieces will also be returned to your inventory. So
oh, cool.
I would say that's like the biggest thing coming in 2.6 that's a design change. And, you know, our coders did a whole bunch of work to make it happen. And, you know, they did a great job. I'm really happy with it.
So, on top of the DLC launch, we're obviously getting a whole bunch of fixes. He goes on a little bit later on to answer some questions about the PlayStation admin panel and different various bugs that are currently being experienced in-game, though he's not 100% sure during the video that those things are going to be patched in 2.6. It is very likely that you see all those bugs, or at least most of those bugs that have been reported, get patched in 2.6, which I believe should come out next Thursday, right alongside the DLC.
Is there a time frame for the PlayStation admin panel fix? I have to double check this, and I probably won't be able to get back to you with it, but I'm pretty sure the admin panel fix is in 2.6.
Additionally, the new feature that allows you to pick pieces back up that have been placed is a very cool feature. I know that there are some in the community that feel like it's going to be overpowered. I believe there was some talk in PvP about mobile bases and just people being able to build bases without any doors because they could literally just walk up, pick up the piece, place it back down. Who knows how they're going to end up using it and what tweaks we may see in the future, but bottom line is I think this is a really good feature and they're headed in the right direction. Even if it does need some tweaks down the road after they look at the feedback from the community actually using it and make sure that it's not being exploited somehow. If it does need some fixes, I'm sure Funcom will do that. Either way, I feel like we're headed in the right direction with their recent patches.
Armor display. Right now, there are some technical issues with armor display, and it's kind of similar to torches and stuff. So you'll probably realize, hey, there are mods that can do it. Why can't you? And the problem is really just that when we add that many assets in one location, it causes the game to hitch. So we have to do more performance optimizations before we can consider adding an armor display as part of the base game. And that actually reminds me of another thing I wanted to talk about just in general, is that I know a lot of people will point out, hey, you're just doing things mods are doing. Why are you just stealing from mods and making that part of the game? Do something different. A really big part of that is just that over half of our players play on consoles. So they don't even have access to mods as it is right now. And adding mods to consoles is something I would absolutely love to do. But right now, because the game uses so much memory, it would be literally impossible. Over time, we've been working to get that memory footprint down more and more. So it's not a huge stretch to say that maybe sometime in the future it could be possible to have mods on consoles. But for the time being, mods are this great opportunity for us as developers to look at the things people want in our game because we see that they're literally making it and using it. And then, we can use that as information to, condense and mull over and decide what of that we give to everybody, just to make the base experience better for everyone.
So there's a few things that I want to unpack here. First of all, he mentions that over half of the players are actually on console. If that's the case, then console really does need to be up to date. And I think it's really smart that Dennis is taking that approach to take care of all the platforms at the same time. He additionally goes on to talk about the fact that people are saying, well, you're just taking that from the mod. And he does give a very valid point about the fact that mods are not available and that one of the reasons why they're adding them into the base game is so that the players on console can take part in some of the amazing things the modding community has made. Now, I did a video a while back about 10 things that I thought Funcom should be doing to really improve their game, and taking mods and making them part of the base game was one of the things that I recommended. And I'm not a mod creator myself, but I know Funcom is involved in directly communicating with a lot of the mod creators. So I wouldn't be surprised if Funcom and a mod creator had a conversation about the fact that what they had put in the mod was so good that they were actually going to adopt that in game. Now, I have no leg to stand on or show you proof that this is happening. I just have a feeling that it is, and that's why I bring it up. I've seen Funcom in the past do a lot of things with the community that no other gaming company has done yet today. However, there's a lot of gaming companies out there that are picking up on what Funcom is doing. Being involved with the community is a huge part of making a game more and more successful, and I think Funcom leads by example in this area.
What do you guys think about Conan Exiles PvP? It's awesome. I think that, if anyone's been paying attention to the kind of stuff I've been involved in as a lead designer, I pay a lot of attention to the PvP community specifically. Because I think that a lot of what they have to say has positive and far-reaching effects across the whole game, not just the PvP community. So in all things, I try to keep everyone in mind. I try to think about the role player, the builder, the guy that likes to run dungeons, and the PvPers all together, because really, we've got a game for all those different personality types. So I'm everyone's best pal when it comes to
well said.
The changes that we make.
Now, some of you guys may want to string me up after I say this. The fact that Dennis is paying attention to the PvP community is a good thing. Honestly, the PvP community digs into the game a lot more than the PvE community does because they're risking hundreds and thousands of hours of gameplay on knowing the game better. Because if you don't know the game as well as your opponent, you are likely to lose tons of time and effort that you've put into the game. So they really do dig in and find things much more quickly than I do sometimes, and they get really deep with it. So it's very important for Dennis to look at that. I also feel like Dennis may be the guy that could separate the different game modes. If anybody's going to do it, I think it would be Dennis to decide to actually say PvP is going in its own bucket, PvEC in its own bucket, and PvP in its own bucket. And honestly, I think this is something that every player that plays Conan Exiles could get behind. A way to separate each of the game modes so that each could be patched individually and have its own set of balance. Now, this isn't something that's outside the scope of some of the patches and some of the updates that we've actually seen, where thralls have gotten their own settings for damage modifiers to players. I think this may be a road that Funcom is going down, and it'll be interesting to see if I'm right in the future. Speaking of seeing if I'm right in the future, let's see what Dennis has to say about 3.0.
Any hints on what 3.0 will be about? Nope.
I wish.
That's an easy one. Believe me, I would love nothing more than to come here and spill the beans because it's so exciting. You guys literally probably won't even believe it, but it's going to be awesome. Yep, that's the hint. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to unpack this nice and slow for you guys. I'm going to give you guys what I think this could be, what it might be. You're going to get my prediction. But first of all, he says that he's not going to give any hints, and then he goes on to give hints. The first hint is that you literally won't believe it, and then the next hint is that it's going to be amazing. Now, any PR guy could probably write that out pretty easy, get you excited about the product. However, if we scroll back to a little bit earlier on in the live stream, he actually dropped a hint about 3.0 then.
Because we're putting a lot of work into what we're calling the 3.0 update, which is going to be massive. It will probably be one of, if not the biggest update we've done for Exiles.
Okay, so he talks about how this is going to be one of, if not the biggest update for Exiles. And as I think back on the updates that have come to Conan Exiles, whether it be the full Thrall revamp, the full fighting revamp that we've gone through, the full healing system revamp that we've gone through, the launch of Isle of Sipta, which is a DLC. However, I feel like that would still be in the category of a huge update. This is something that is very, very big in the minds of Funcom, and I want you to listen to this next clip.
Any plans to add multi-person raid level dungeon content in the future? Right now, we don't have plans for that specifically. 3.0, I guess the one thing I will say about it is that it will have some level of content. Your mileage may vary on how much content you expect. However, if you've been paying close attention to the company or you follow us on LinkedIn or anything, you may see that we have recently hired a lead content designer. So, take what you will from that.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. This is a massive update with some level of content. He's downplaying the level of content that is going to come with the 3.0 update. So content would be like new dungeons or new playable areas, things like that. He's downplaying that. He's saying that you'll have some level of content, but this is a massive update. So what could it be?
But it's one of those things where if we take the animator off of the 3.0 feature, or if we want them to do new animations for turning and things like that, we have to take them off of 3.0.
So that was in response to a question about turning animations, and he calls it the 3.0 feature. Now, I think this may have been a little hitch for him. I think he was a little off the script here when he called it a 3.0 feature, and he's talking about animators. So whatever update is coming in 3.0, it does require the animators' time. Now, there is something that a lot of people have wanted in the game for a long time. There's also something that Funcom initially promised that hasn't come through. could we actually see magic come to Conan Exiles with update 3.0? Now, I don't have a crystal ball to say that it's going to be magic, and I may just be reading into it because Funcom does like to kind of string that carrot along from time to time, and they do regularly talk about updates that are coming in a grandiose sense, which is perfectly fine because it does create hype. However, in this case and scenario, things do lead me to think more towards magic than something else. However, magic is probably the fallback that we go to when they talk about anything new coming to the game that they don't want to give away. Because it's the one thing that's been put out there that's on our minds that hasn't been delivered yet. So it could be magic, it could be something totally different. I want to know in the comment section below, what do you think is coming in update 3.0? The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. And if you want to continue the fun, there's 2 videos on the screen. You can pick one of those to watch next. Please don't forget to whack the like button. And if you're new to the channel, I'd encourage you to click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get notified when I upload another video.